Good morning.
Welcome to First Unitarian Church, where our mission is to explore the eternal, nurture community, and pursue the common good. We welcome you in your brokenness and in your wholeness. No matter who you have been, who you are, or who you are becoming, we greet you today with love.
And our chalice today is being lit by Thayer Dicus. Thayer is going to be turning 16 years old on December the 12th. Happy birthday, Thayer.
We light the chalice as a symbol of our sacred time together. The burning chalice represents the light of reason and science, the warmth of loving community, the cleansing heat of justice, and the flame of hope.
So happy St. Nicholas Day, everyone. I'm Reverend Diana Davies, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. And 2 weeks ago, we introduced the UU Service Committee's Guest at Your Table program. And as a reminder, the idea is to place a box on your table for the next several weeks in order to remember the people who are working for justice in their communities with the support of the UUSC. And in fact, just in RE this morning, the kids shared the Guest at Your Table boxes that they created over Thanksgiving. As you're able, you're asked to make daily or weekly donations, maybe putting the spare change that's left in your pocket or your purse at the end of each day into the box. And that will all be collected at the end of the month and mailed to the UUSC. 2 weeks ago, we gave you a general overview of the guests who represent the different communities supported by the UUSC. And over the next 4 weeks, we'll introduce you to each guest in more detail so you have a better sense is with you at your table. We begin today with Adela Ramirez from Guatemala.
Saludos cordiales a todas y a todos. Hoy comparto mi experiencia desde Asociación POPNO. POPNO trabaja con personas retornadas de México y Estados Unidos. En el eje de migración, mi cargo es técnica de campo en el área Mayamam de Huehuetenango y mi trabajo consiste en acompañar al proceso de retorno y reintegración de niños, niñas y adolescentes migrantes. Cuando nos vemos obligados a salir de nuestras comunidades, dejamos lo conocido para enfrentarnos a un mundo desconocido. De cierta forma, se rompe la familia, corremos muchos riesgos e incluso muchos pierden la vida en el camino. La mayoría de la gente se encuentra en condiciones que no son buenas. La pobreza no les permite vivir en plenitud, tanto en mi comunidad como en todo el territorio de Huehuetenango. Por estas razones, por ser una zona fronteriza, la población cruza fronteras en busca de una nueva oportunidad para las familias. Por eso decimos siempre que migrar es un acto de amor. Sin embargo, las personas migrantes son tratadas como delincuentes. Al ser capturadas, se esconden y por lo tanto, pues son retornadas hacia sus comunidades, dejando a los niños en albergues y otros lugares donde se encuentran vulnerables a sus derechos. Sus esperanzas se ven frustradas. Por otra parte, el gobierno no da atención al proceso de reintegración. Es por eso que desde organizaciones de sociedad civil nos hemos tomado el trabajo de acompañar a niños, niñas y adolescentes en la reintegración a sus familias y comunidades.
Our opening hymn this morning is number 226 in our gray hymnal. If you'd like to sing along at home, it's People Look East, and it's performed here by Michelle Kelly, who is the music director at First Unitarian Society of Franklin, Massachusetts.
People look east, the time is near of the crowning of the year. Make your house fair as you are able, trim the hearth and set the table. People look east and sing today, love the guest is on the way. Furrows be glad, the earth is bare, one more seed is planted there. Give up your strength, this seed to nourish, that in course the flower may flourish. People look east and sing today, love the rose is on the way. Stars keep the watch when night is dim, one more light the bow shall brim, shining beyond the frosty weather, bright as sun and moon together. People look east and sing today, love the star is on the way.
Beautiful. My name is Tim Atkins. I serve as your Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration. My pronouns are he, him. And I've got a story to share with you today. The story is called Santa in a Snow Globe by A.H. Edelman, illustrations by Serge Gall, and published by Indie Reader. 'Twas the week before Christmas, and all through the store the lights gently glimmered like knobs on a door. Most people wore masks and stood 6 feet apart, but it was the week before Christmas, so they did it with heart. So they searched until Santa was found, enclosed in a place that was clear and quite round. Why is he in there? Children wanted to know. Why was he sitting in a globe filled with snow? They were there for one reason, the parents and kids, the teens with their cell phones, the babies with bibs. They were waiting for Santa, hoping he'd grant them a wish. A new bike for Michael, a skateboard for Trish. I'll tell you the reason, said an elf standing nearby. He's no longer young and he still has to fly. He's doing his part to help to keep people safe. And let us be honest, that is Santa's way. But what about Christmas? Anxiously asked a small boy. Was I good for no reason if there aren't any toys? The elf waved him forward to stand by the glass. Is it true, he asked Santa, this year won't be like last? Santa thought for a moment before starting to speak. A rosy glow spread from his ears to his cheeks. The one thing that's constant is change, he declared, and sometimes that's frightening, but there's no need to be scared. The truth is our planet is not in great shape. There's been fighting and sickness and fires untamed. As for my coming, we're preparing the sled. We'll arrive just like last year after you've gone to bed. So then, said the boy, I guess things are all good. I'll get all my presents like you promised I would. But Santa leaned back, concern clear on his face. There was a lesson to share about compassion and grace. I'm not out that often, but I see things aren't right. The North Pole is warmer. Species disappear overnight. The child looked confused. He had not understood. So Santa took another tack. It was important that he should. I'll tell you a secret. It's not just about stuff. It's about being thankful for the little things and smiling when it's tough. It's about sharing what you have with those who may have less. It's not about measuring worth and money to determine who is best. You see, our world is like a snow globe, round and fragile to the touch. And when the snow is falling, it's hard to see too much. But when everything has cleared, it's time to do our best. To help out who and when we can is a very worthy quest. We're all in this together, underneath the same big sky. We're made of stars and special stuff, not apparent to the eye. Christmas season is upon us. We must remember what that means. Kindness, above all else, is what our planet needs. The little boy nodded slowly, understanding dawning slow. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It matters which way you go. So they smiled for a picture, the child moving toward the door. We're truly all connected. Of that you can be sure. After all, thought Santa smiling, Christmas has always been the season for miracles and hope, which, let's face it, have little to do with reason. So don't be too concerned if this year Santa can be found sitting in a snow globe that is clear as it is round. The end. I'd like to now invite Kathy Webster to share a reflection with us. Kathy?
Good morning. I can't see myself, but I trust you can see me. Okay. My name is Kathy Webster. I'm a member of First Unitarian and of the choir, and my pronouns are she and her. Oh, Christmas tree, how lovely are thy branches. While wreaths and garlands come and go, and holiday lights have really only become a part of my personal season since we became homeowners here in Oklahoma, the Christmas tree has been an enduring tradition in my life. My family moved to Connecticut in early December 1966. I had just turned 1, so I don't recall any part of that life transition. But my parents purchased a live tree with a root ball that year that they planted in a prominent place in our front yard after Christmas. It grew up with me, and to me it always signified our home life as a family. After that, we had live cut trees. We would spend some Saturday after Thanksgiving at a local garden store and find a tree together. My mom, my dad, my brother, and me. We would strap it to the top of the red station wagon and haul it home, just like in a Hallmark movie. It seemed to bring fragrance to the whole house, and many of our ornaments had stories behind them as they were homemade or purchased on family trips. And the star, a perfect 5-pointed star that my father made for our first Connecticut Christmas, out of cardboard, tin foil, electrical tape, and ingenuity. The old star had somehow gotten misplaced in the move from New Jersey. A family full of love and love for the holidays we were. And then, 10 years after we moved there to Connecticut in that happy home, my father died. Not super suddenly, but finally, and much too soon. My mother was determined to make sure that our lives were not upended by this loss. She assured my brother and me that she would not seek a replacement spouse and that we would be able to stay in our house thanks to mortgage insurance that she and my dad had purchased. But then, the following year, it happened. My mother bought a fake tree, a super tacky 1970s fake tree that looked like green hairbrushes gone bad. While intellectually I understood when she explained that shopping for a tree was just too hard on her without my father, I was mad. I was 12. My Christmas season felt upended. My life felt upended. And so it continued both day and night, year after year, with that god-awful tree that I loathed and resented, and that did not deserve that perfect daddy-created star on top. Eventually, my brother left for college, and my mom and I adjusted to life à deux, which was sometimes difficult in my teen years. I had a boyfriend who she didn't particularly like. That would become a trope, but I didn't know it then. We spent lots of time out and about, my boyfriend and I and our friends. And one December night, after some party or other, a group of us dropped by my house for some reason or other. Walking into the living room, I stunned this group of friends by bursting into tears. A live tree stood before me. A live tree. My brother had returned for winter break, and the first thing he did was get us a real tree. Although I cannot recall that he and I ever discussed our disdain for that artificial disaster of a tree that we had been living with for all those Christmases without our father, my brother's act demonstrated that we had been of one mind on this topic all these years. And then we enjoyed multiple years of live trees at my mom's house after that. Not only green when summer's here, but in the coldest time of year. In my adult life, I got myself a tree whenever possible, savoring the experience and honoring my father's love of the holiday each time. My son Thayer, as you now know, was born in December. Many years since his birth, we have gone out as a family to get our tree as part of his birthday celebration. But whenever we go, the four of us, the family knows that it will be a special and emotional moment for me. I am the tree whisperer of the family. I am allowed final say on the choice of our tree each year. And there are some tears. Each time I feel connected to my young self, to my brother, my mom, and my dad, whose love of family and joie de vivre remain vibrant within me still. And here's the star. Merry Christmas!
Thank you, Kathy. Laura, would you do our offering for us today?
It's hard to follow that. It's very heartfelt. My name is Laura Lochner, and I'm a member of the board, and I am on the Green Sanctuary team. I'm on the membership committee, and last year I was on the policy and procedures committee. Every Sunday we take an offering. All the cash and designated checks from that offering go directly to external nonprofit organizations doing good work in our community. Our Change for Change partners. This month, our Change for Change partner is Friends of Will Rogers Garden Foundation. The mission of the Friends of Will Rogers Gardens Foundation is to offer financial support for beautification, education, and preservation projects at Will Rogers Gardens in order to enhance the use and appreciation of the gardens by the public and the greater Oklahoma City community. The Memory Garden is a specialized garden designed for people with dementia or Alzheimer's disease to share with their families and caregivers. While we listen to the offertory, you may wish to make a donation to our Change for Change partner using a credit card through our website. Or this could be a good time to find your checkbook, write out a check, and put it aside to mail to First Unitarian tomorrow morning. Let today's offering reflect our highest aspirations for the work of this church in the world.
To all alone, unloved, unknown, whose hearts yet beat with mine as one, bless each and all tonight. Your unshared dreams, your unheard prayers, your secret hopes and fears and cares, find life and place and light. There's not enough of love to lose, there's not enough of joy to choose, yet all deserve life's best. Life is so brief, and grief so strong, and joy so short, and tears so long. Let each and all be blessed. Good friends, beloved, bless keep you all, on everyone rich blessings fall, on all beneath the heavens. Your eyes from tears, your hearts from pain, your homes with joy, your stores with gain. May peace to all be given.
In 1974, a stop-action animated special called The Year Without a Santa Claus debuted on TV. It was one of the Christmas specials that was on regular rotation every December when I was a little kid. It was never my favorite, but it had a couple of memorable little tunes. Do you remember I'm Mr. Snow Miser? Well, the reason I've been thinking about it lately is because of the story, because there's something about it that feels oddly timely. The story begins at the North Pole, sometime in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Santa isn't feeling well, and his doctor tells him that he needs to take some time off. Stay home and rest for once. Well, granted, the doctor has a pretty negative attitude and a terrible bedside manner, but his reasoning is sound. If you're sick, stay home. And Santa takes his advice. The world won't come to an end if he calls in sick one Christmas. So he alerts the elves to unharness the flying reindeer, and he tells the toy makers to stop production. And to be honest, Santa seems pretty content to just lie in bed under some warm quilts, watching the snow fall. It's everyone else who is thrown into a tizzy. Mrs. Claus starts fantasizing about putting on Santa's suit and doing the job herself. A couple of elves go to some random city in the southern United States to find proof that people still believe in Santa, so he'll change his mind and go back to work. And Santa, in spite of the fact that he's clearly sick, sneezing on people and probably spreading his cold germs everywhere he goes, he shows up in that random southern town trying to convince people that he does in fact exist, even though technically he's on sick leave. But here's the part that I had forgotten, and the part that seems most interesting to me now. In this story, the people of the world agree that Santa really should take a break. In fact, in one scene, mayors of cities around the globe proclaim that Santa deserves a day off. The children of the world then do something remarkable. Instead of sitting around being sad about the lack of presents from Santa, they take the initiative of making, wrapping, and sending presents to Santa. And there is no sense that they do this as a kind of quid pro quo. They aren't trying to make Santa feel guilty. It turns out that what matters much more than believing in Santa and his magical powers is loving Santa. A Santa who is vulnerable, who gets sick sometimes and needs to take a break. And it's not as though the reversal of roles is some kind of hardship for the children. Mrs. Claus, who's the narrator of the story, points out that the children had, quote, more fun that strange December than any of them could remember. And if the story ended there, what a beautiful and powerful message that would be. That joy can persist beyond tradition, beyond expectation. That new traditions can always be created. That there is no more joy in receiving than in giving, and no more honor in giving than in receiving. That sometimes we just need to stay home and take care of ourselves. And those who truly love us won't love us any less for that. But the story doesn't end there, because one little girl writes a song to Santa in which, through tears, she pens the words of that old Elvis Presley song, "I'll Have a Blue Christmas Without You." And again, there's nothing malicious about this little girl. She doesn't seem to be writing out of some materialistic desire for presents. She sincerely just misses Santa. And with this one letter, Santa changes his mind. He decides that he will deliver gifts to all the children all around the world that year. He won't take a break. He won't stay home and rest. And the TV special ends with a song that reminds us that every single year, without fail, we can all rely on Santa hitching up his sleigh and delivering gifts to good children everywhere. And that ending, that message, makes me kind of sad. It makes me sad because it reinforces a goal of invulnerability that is already dominant within our culture. It makes me sad because it says that a true hero is one who never stays home, who keeps going to work even when sick, because if they don't, someone somewhere might be sad. Someone might be disappointed, and we can't have that. And maybe this is resonating with me personally because I've just gone through a period of being very sick and not being able to do all the things I felt that I needed to do, and feeling guilty about that sometimes, worrying that I was letting people down. And because I've recently had the humbling lesson of realizing that the world won't end just because I take a few days off. That there are others who will step up and do the work, not just as well as I could do, but often better. And that's okay. This is the year without a Santa Claus in many ways. And we will all experience it in at least one of three ways. As that sad little girl who writes the blue Christmas letter, as the children who joyfully invent a new tradition, or as guilty Santa. And many of us will experience it in all of these ways. What's important is that we understand what is driving our emotions and that we find a way to stay healthy, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Most, maybe all of us, can identify with that little girl in the story who writes the blue Christmas letter to Santa. We are, after all, human beings, who have developed over millennia to be inherently social. It's at the core of our being. As someone has said, as fish are born expecting water, humans are born expecting culture. We need human connection, human touch, not just at an emotional level, but in our bodies, in our immune systems. And not just philosophers and theologians recognize this, it is a scientific fact. And we, these creatures whose very DNA calls us to be together in physical and social contact, we have been apart for 9 months, for the amount of time it takes to make a whole human being. And so it's not surprising that our desire to be near our loved ones would be so overwhelming that we forget sometimes the danger inherent in being near others during this time of pandemic. And it's important that we recognize this, that we are not bad people for wanting to be near others, even if it's dangerous. That's just a part of being human. But at the same time, we are called to be more. We are called to care about ourselves and others so much that it hurts sometimes. It really hurts. And yet we pull through. Because we also, all of us, have the capacity to be like those children in the story who rise above the occasion, who overcome traditions and expectations and create new traditions based in love. There are so many examples of how we are modifying or overhauling beloved traditions this year to keep everyone safe. And I invite you to write your own examples of what you are doing differently this year into the chat, either toward the end of our service today, or go ahead and post them on our Facebook group page. In many cases, hard limitations have forced us to be creative as never before. And this has generated new options that are, in and of themselves, beautiful. In my own extended family in the past, for example, for those who were unable to be physically present, we might have made a perfunctory, hey, how are you doing? Merry Christmas call. But now in this time of COVID, we all get on Zoom. We see each other. We have a much richer conversation. As much as the pandemic has limited our options to be together and to celebrate old traditions, it has given us a chance to explore our creativity, to remember the real meaning of Christmas, which is the birth of something new, sacred, and unexpected in the face of all restraint and even despair. And finally, many of us are identifying with that Santa this year. A lot of folks who are parents or grandparents, but it could be any of us who see ourselves in a hosting or giving kind of role. In the year without a Santa Claus story, Santa tries to find a balance between taking care of himself and caring for others. And in the end, he feels compelled to meet the needs of others, even if it is at his own expense. What Santa loses sight of is the fact that he's not the only Santa, that the children of the world are equally capable of giving, that they are capable of creating their own joy. By insisting on being the giver year after year, he denies this joy to the children. He limits their creativity. His guilt gets in the way of true giving. And turning the mirror back on ourselves, we need to ask this question. At what point is our desire to recreate the perfect holiday getting in the way of seeing all the beautiful alternatives? At what point does tradition become less about love and more about control? And how do we relinquish the need to control to make space for the possibility of something new? This year, this holiday season, we need to recognize that we are sad, that this is horrible. Our losses are real. There is no need to be merry when everything seems to be working against joy. Physical separation from our loved ones goes against everything in our very being. And yet, we stay apart because our love exceeds our need. This year, we also celebrate the creativity that is another core part of who we are. Out of nothing, out of despair even, we are capable of making something joyful. We light the lights, we put up the decorations, even if no one else can see them, just because they are beautiful, just because they bring us joy. And this year, may we take away these lessons. We don't need to give and give to the point of giving ourselves away. Sometimes we just need to stay home and rest. Allowing others to be the givers can be the greatest gift of all. May we all remember that receiving is just as sacred as giving, and that every person is capable and deserving of Santahood. In this way, the year without a Santa becomes an impossibility, because Santa is everyone we see, everywhere we look. Please join me in a spirit of prayer or meditation. Spirit of life, as we enter into this season of sacred holidays, our hearts are aching. The terrible illness that once seemed like a distant threat is now a part of our everyday lives, and more of us know someone, love someone who has died or become desperately ill from this virus. And we watch our elected officials privilege fear and the desire for power over courage and caring. We watch as ICU beds are filled and healthcare workers are exhausted. We watch as many in our state and in our country continue to deny the basic lessons of science and place their own comfort and their own egos over the well-being of others. And through all of this, we are perplexed, we are sad, we are angry. May our confusion be an affirming sign that we still believe in the basic goodness of humanity, and that we are surprised when we find greed and selfishness instead. May our anger be the fuel for doing good in the world. And now in the chat, I invite you to take a moment to share the joys and the concerns that fill your hearts today. And I'll give you a moment to think about those and to write those in. We mourn not seeing family this year. We are happy for the opportunities to see our loved ones, even if it's fully masked in all of our protective gear. We are joyful and thankful for our family and friends, even if we only get to see them on Zoom. We are grateful for the health of extended family. We are sad for family members who have COVID and who need to quarantine away from other family members to protect their well-being. We are concerned about the restaurant servers and the grocery store workers and all the store workers who are harassed because they ask people to wear a mask. We are praying for the burned out healthcare workers. We are praying for all those who are suffering in so many different ways. We are looking forward to that day when we may have vaccines widely available to all and conditions become safe so that we can be together again. For all these things, for so many more, we pray, may it be so. Peace, peace, peace. Our closing hymn is by Unitarian Universalist Shara Romani, in which she sings about a time when we're back together again.
Haven't seen you in such a long time, and you feel so far away. But I'll stay here in my own, 'cause I gotta keep you safe. Couldn't think that we'd be here today. There's so much loss and so much pain. But when I get to see your face again, everything will be okay. 'Cause when we're back, it'll be just like we never left. When we're back, nothing will be the same. When we're back, I won't waste a single day. When we're back, I'll wrap my arms around you. Haven't seen you in such a long time. Now we're here to celebrate. I get to look upon your smiling face. You get to wipe my tears away. 'Cause when we're back, it'll be just like we never left. When we're back, nothing will be the same. When we're back, I won't waste a single day. And when we're back, I'll wrap my arms around you. Nothing will be the same. Everything will be okay. I won't waste a single day.
There, would you extinguish our chalice for us?
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of love and community which burns in our hearts.
Until we are together again, may you be well, may you be strong. May you find the courage to find rest when you need it. May you know the joy of giving and the blessing of receiving. May it be so. I'll play some music to send us off this morning in just a moment, but please come back at about 12 o'clock. We'll have our virtual coffee hour, chance to break into some small groups, have discussion, catch up on how everybody's doing. This postlude is a piano solo performed by Adam Pod, O Come, Emmanuel.
Baked potato, asparagus.